Welcome to LP Financial Services. Free membership is available at www.fxreturn.com. Good morning. Welcome to the FXReturn.com weekly preview for the Euro, the Pound, New Zealand Dollar for Monday, August 25th, 2008. It's coming up on 15:30 GMT, 11:30 a.m. on Wall Street. Let's take a look at the Euro in the background. We're hovering at this first Fibonacci retracement level at 48.12. Not much to the downside, not much to the upside. We seem to be trading in this little range here, currently trading 47.86. When we take a look at the chart, we see we had the fifth wave in the drop. We just don't know if it's going to retrace back up to these moving averages as they have crossed over right now. The MACD is no longer building that strongly to the downside, but the stochastics have also come up through the 20 line. But when we look to the little bit shorter charts, that's a daily at 47.86. When we look at the 6-hour charts, we see that we aren't trading very strongly, stochastically speaking, and if we do get this 19 below the 25 to the downside, I think we could continue with this downtrend to the downside. Not a lot of momentum yet to the upside, certainly in the Euro at 47.86. When we look at the British Pound, we see it trading 85.52, much lower. We set a low of 84.03. That was our level. I'm looking at this trend line down at 82.20 area to provide support. When we look at the pound, we have yet to come back up through the 20 level on the stochastics, and the MACD is still trading below the trigger right now, so it's going to be a difficult road to hoe for the pound to make moves back up through our next resistance level at 89.98. Support still resides at 85.10, but we'll look at that 82.20 as a level for this thing to pause on the downside. When we look at the New Zealand dollar, we see 70.78 currently trading. 70.76 is a very important level. This is the daily chart. We've curled back over to the downside in a downtrend, so that's not very positive. Let's look at the 4-hour charts here. Still in a pretty deep downtrend. Came up, retraced. We're trading MACD below the trigger right now, but the oscillator, stochastic oscillator, looks like it wants to work its way back up through the 20 level, so that may contain the downside movements for the moment. But that's the story. Let's look at the weeklies real quick. We've got the New Zealand dollar on the weekly basis. MACD still trading down. Stochastics, we need to get this D over the 20 line for this thing to hold off a little bit. Look at the pound on the weekly basis. Still, moving averages are still crossed, but the MACD is still pushing very strongly to the downside, outpacing at 272 to 134, and stochastics have just actually come through at 5.9 and 10, so that's not ultra strong there. And when we look at the Euro, also we have this support at 1.4, but the MACD is just starting its way to the downside. So that's the outlook, technically speaking, for the currencies. Let's take a look at our weekly calendar for the rest of the week. We had our existing home sales today figures at 10 a.m. East Coast with not a lot of impact, as there was not a lot of surprise, but we do have new home sales figures tomorrow at 1400 GMT, 10 a.m. Looking for a forecast, same as last time, 5.3. 530,000, and we have a ton trade on news plan for that. We finish go to Wednesday at 8:30 a.m., 12:30 GMT, U.S. core durable goods orders month over month. 3 stars, high impact. Durable goods orders look to be way down at minus 0.5, the forecast, as opposed to last time, 2.0%. So we have a ton trade on news plan for that. That could impact the dollar this week. When we look a little further out, we can see that not a lot of high impact, but we come in on the 28th with our preliminary GDP on Thursday, Q over Q, at the same time as our unemployment claims at 12:30 GMT, 8:30 a.m. on the East Coast, 2.6 for the GDP, Q over Q. That's a rise of 0.7% off forecast. We have a time trade on news plan for that. That may be beneficial to the dollar. And as we move to the third page of our trade on news calendar at FXReturn.com, we can see the last of the news events that should have an impact this week. On Friday, we've got the Canadian GDP month-over-month figures. 0.1% is the forecast. We have a ton trade on news plan for that. And then our U.S. core PCE price index coming out at the same time, 12:30 GMT, 8:30 a.m. on the East Coast. So 0.3% is the forecast there. So that's the outlook for the current week for the pound, the euro, and the New Zealand dollar. Be sure to check the website at fxreturn.com to get all of our latest LP, intraday, and swing trading signals, our TON, live trading, trade on news events, and all of our support and resistance technical analysis. We're trading 47.97 in the background, first level 48.12 resistance in the euro. So thanks so much for following along today for Monday, August 25th, and I will see you tomorrow for our U.S. new home sales TON video. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.